Hello, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to talk about the types of conflict that you would find when writing fiction. Back when I was in high school, there were only three conflicts: man versus man, man versus nature, and man versus himself. There has since been other conflicts added to the fiction genre, and there's also man versus society, man versus the supernatural, man versus fate/destiny, and man versus technology. I honestly think that man versus society shelves right in under man versus man. Man versus man or man versus men. Society in general, whether it be fighting against some sort of prejudice or fighting to make a name for yourself, and society keeping you downtrodden because you fit in a specific economic or cultural caste. Man versus supernatural, that's fairly new. And that would be all fine, well, and good. And it works for fiction quite a bit, for sure. But if you're still fighting against a foe, and a lot of the time that foe is personified as a human being for the most part. Supernatural is a perfect example. The Winchester brothers against demons and Satan, who all were human personifications of those concepts. So it was still man against man, or men. Man versus fate or destiny, that again is it's a nebulous gray area. People decide their own fates. There's not some greater power up there trying to act as a puppet master and controlling everything you do. Your destiny is in your own hands. Your fate is in your own hands. So it's still man versus himself, because you're the one who's fighting against the destiny that you assign for yourself. And then man versus technology. This tangentially is man versus man, because who invented technology? Man. Who expanded on technology? Man. So this one could also technically fall under man versus man, or man versus a lot of men. Man versus another man's brain. It still falls under the category of man versus man, as far as I'm concerned. I don't delineate different aspects of human advances, their quirks, their beliefs. It's still all part of man versus three specific areas. Harry Potter, my favorite fan fictions that I like to write, is full of man versus man. Harry Potter versus Voldemort. Harry Potter versus the Death Eaters. Harry Potter versus Dumbledore. Because let's face it, that man was a manipulative fuck and should not have been a headmaster. Not with the way he ignored abuse and bullying like he did. He encouraged it. He patted the marauders on the head and sent them on their way. Just exuberance, youthful exuberance. No, just no. Had that been a school today, and yes, she's come for a visit. Had that been a school today, those kids would have been expelled and probably arrested, because a lot of the pranks that they pulled were harmful, extremely harmful, embarrassing, humiliating, and harmful. So yeah. So when you're writing fan fiction, or any fiction actually, if you're getting ready to start your own book, the first thing you need to figure out is, what conflict do you want your protagonist to face? Do you want him to face man on man action, the action movies, the John Wick movies, westerns, a lot of science fiction and horror have man versus man. The horror is supernatural man, but still man versus man. Or do you want him to face the challenges of wild animals, or being lost in the woods, finding his own inner strength to survive what nature has to throw at him? Or do you want man versus himself, where, and Harry Potter, if written right, would have faced a lot of this. A lot of my stories have the abused Harry facing those inner demons. He never faced them in the books, and that's not the way human beings work. You could have him facing his inner conflict, whether or not he actually wants to kill to survive, whether or not he actually has the mettle within himself to kill to survive, facing himself fighting that guilt because he has killed or will have to kill. He did a lot of that inner soul searching after Sirius's death, because he felt he was responsible for it. And he carried that guilt throughout his life for a very long time, which was not right, because Sirius was a grown-ass man, more than capable of making his own decisions. He chose to join Dumbledore instead of staying in Grimmauld, safe and protected, because he had to be in everything. It was just his personality. But that's another thing. Man versus himself in fighting against his own inner demons, his own overblown sense of self-worth or courage or whatever, and being smacked on the nose for it and learning something from it. Each one of these conflicts at its heart is a way for your character to work through whatever issues, whatever problems, whatever aggravations they are facing in their lives, in order to come to a decent, thoughtful, intelligent resolution. If you're a good writer. All right. If you know what you're doing, if you have a really good character plot line written out, then whatever you have your character facing should resolve itself intelligently and understandably by the end of your story. It is very, very important that you set out with a conflict in mind before you do anything else. Write a list of characters, write a list of adversaries, write a list of problems you wanna discuss, or issues that someone might be facing, and work from there. But make sure you have a good, solid foundation of what your characters are doing, what their motivations are, and what kind of conflict they're going to be facing in your story before you start writing your story. Don't do it on the fly. I've got a couple stories floating around that I did on the fly. An idea hit me and I just, they're not great. As far as I'm concerned, they're not great. But then again, I'm my own worst critic. And I intend once I've gotten the 30 plus stories whittled down to one or two, I plan on going through those other stories, those old stories, finished ones, and revamping them, cleaning them up, changing a few things, because I've matured since the first time I posted some fan fiction. My personality has changed quite a bit since then, and my view of the world has changed quite a bit since then, because a lot of those stories were started while my husband was still alive. And I will tell you right now, death and grief changes things in a big way. Use that. Whatever motivates you, whether it be your own personal demons that you've been fighting with for most of your life, whether it's your own personal issues, your own weaknesses that have been pointed out to you and pointed out to you and pointed out to you until you're just, you want to throw up with how much you've heard this bullshit. Whatever motivates you to start writing, use that as a launching point for your characters. Most authors write about things that they know. It's the best way to write the best kind of stories, because if you're not invested in that character, if you don't have some sort of understanding of that character's motivations, it's like watching paper dolls. All right, there's no connection, there's no emotion, there's no feeling of empathy or sympathy or camaraderie, because you understand where that character's coming from. All right, make sure that when you decide your conflict, it's a conflict that you understand. It's great when you can use your own personal experiences, your own personal pains to push forward your story, to motivate the character within your story to do things the way you wish you would have, or the way you wish you could have, or the way you think the character should have acted, based on your own experiences of how you would have acted or how you have acted in similar situations. It's important. Some sort of conflict is important. You can't even the most vapid of simplest cartoon characters, their storylines have motivation. The Powerpuff Girls, My Little Pony, and yes, I'm grimacing on both of them because bleh, I don't like sap. I'm not a huge fan of rom-coms. I don't find people embroiling themselves in stupid situations and hurting other people in the process funny or interesting. I like rom-coms where it's the consequences of their own actions fall on themselves and not someone else, or what their aim isn't to hurt someone else. I don't find that funny. I don't, and I never will. Playing with someone's emotions, just no. But anyway, Even rom-coms have a conflict. It's usually person against themselves because they're fighting against what intellectually or emotionally they think they should be doing because of attitude or because they think they know best, and whatever they're feeling just yet, it isn't what it should be. you know you know how it is. But yeah, that's pretty much my TED Talk for today. Before I leave, I want to talk about this. Okay, some of us older folks who are on Social Security, nearing Social Security retirement, are going to be getting these. It is a scare tactic, as you can see from this insert. It is a scare tactic to encourage you to send them money so they claim they're trying to push forward a bill that will make sure that Social Security is only spent on retirement. Because let's face it, those funds have been snatched by congressmen almost from the moment that the retirement fund was started, to use for their little pet projects. And they're going to use things like watching hamsters on steroids fight, or one of the more egregious attempts is they're claiming that 6-month-old beagle puppies are being given cocaine as one of the experiments. That kind of incendiary language is being used to inflame your outrage. I can almost guarantee you, first of all, that the National Institutes of Health are not doing any experiments because they no longer exist. It's all under Robert Kennedy Jr. So there's no money being spent on frivolous experiments because those departments have been cut. They've been chopped to shit. So cancer research is not being done. AIDS research is not being done. Research into women's health is not being done. It hasn't really been done for years, but it's completely gone now. And I can also guarantee you that any test subjects that they're using, dogs are not anywhere close to humans as far as DNA and physiological reactions. Rats are used for that very reason, because they're the closest to humans other than monkeys. And nobody really cares about a rat, let's face it. How many of you out there would protest rat experimentation? You wouldn't. You don't care about rats. Puppies, on the other hand, you do. And had they actually been using puppies for these kinds of experiments, or hamsters, because kids love hamsters, for these kinds of experiments, you can bet your ass that the Humane Society and everybody else will be up in arms over this shit. It's not happening. Rats are being used because nobody cares about rats. Nobody cares about rats. They make great pets. They don't last very long, but they make great pets. But nobody cares about rats. Rats are prone to all kinds of cancers all the time. So, and their lives are what? 3, maybe 4 years if you're lucky. They're snake food. So, if they're doing these kinds of experiments, and I'm not saying they are, I'm just saying that they're saying that they are. If they're doing these kinds of experiments, then it's not with puppies, it's not with hamsters, it's with rats. Now, one of their biggest things is the fact that they're using Independent Institute and Newsmax, two of Trump's favorite conspiracy theorists, lying news feeds to peddle this stupid information. Check your sources. Go online, check everything. Type it in, and if what comes up is scandal rag after scandal rag, conspiracy rag after conspiracy rag, you know it's not true. You know it's not true. These people couldn't tell the truth if it bit them in the face. Do not. And the ultimate thing is they're asking you for money. They sent you a little straw poll to see whether or not you understand what's going on with your Social Security. And then at the end they say, send this money because we need this money in order. No, don't do it. Don't do it. It's a scam. It's a scam. It's just a way for someone to scare you into giving up your hard-earned, hard-won retirement funds to support whatever it is they're really doing. And we don't know what they're really doing. Nonprofits. Trump wants to go after things like the Humane Society and St. Jude's. He wants to go after legitimate, caring nonprofits, but he wants to leave the nonprofits that will peddle his lies alone. All right? So, watch your mailbox, throw it away. It's just a way for them to make money because opinion polls very rarely do anything. If things are going to be changing in Congress for as far as Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid are concerned, it's not in our hands. It's in the hands of the people that we voted into office to represent our best interests. And apparently they don't know how to do that. They're only representing their own best interests. So I encourage you all to get rid of the old guard, get rid of the boomers, because we are not doing anything anymore. The only thing we're doing is taking up space and encouraging Trump to continue to do what he's doing. If we want to change, we need to get younger people in there. Young, hungry people who are willing to fight for what's right and not what's easy. Or to fight for the little guy instead of trying to protect their own self-interests. The old guard has to go. They have to go. They have to. So vote them out. Get rid of them. Get rid of them. And having said that, I hope you have a wonderful day. It's been so hot lately. Oh my God. So hot. The air's been on almost constantly. Poor little kitty's just... There she is. Crashed down on my desk. But yeah, it's been unbearably hot for a while now. And it doesn't look like it's going to ease up anytime soon. This kind of weather should be in August, the dog days. But no, it's been almost nonstop. So stay safe, stay cool, stay out of the sun, and I shall see you again tomorrow.